Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Cubs Athletics Activity Badge. This is a rather large badge actually. There's a lot of things to do in this. There's two full slides of requirements. But I would mention that this is a very easy way to tick off something like the sort of Personal Challenge Award, which goes towards the Chief Scout Silver Award. And the Personal Challenge Award is one of the more difficult ones to actually sign off and get a solid grounding on in relation to earning the Chief Scout Silver Award. So I would recommend running this badge um, in the light of sort of improving over a period of time and sort of choosing a new athletics activity and going over and doing that essentially to improve and log that over time to prove that you've actually made a difference to your competency in a certain area, and that would be a big tick on that box for the Personal Challenge Award, and that's one step closer to completing your Chief Scouts Silver Award. Beyond that, depending on the type of athletics you undertake, it may be possible to also tick off certain parts of the Cubs Team Leader and Cubs Teamwork Challenge Awards. Um, that's an interesting thing to look into if you're looking at team sports like relay, for example, things like that, and being a captain of a relay team. Even if it's just a scout one for a few weeks, that would also count. And if you find some way to relate the athletics to the Olympics and being a little bit aware of the world and the greater scouting family out there, that could also go towards the Cubs Our World Challenge Award. So you could actually go and contribute towards a large number of these different awards towards the Chief Scout Silver. Um, Also, before we go through the badges in full, it's worth mentioning that after you've earned the Athletics badge, there is an Athletics Plus badge, which requires certain higher requirements. And unlike the other ways you can get higher badges usually, so for example, Activity Plus, you get a grey ring around your badge, and Instructor, you get a big yellow, like a larger yellow ring, I believe. Um, this is its own separate badge, so you can wear Athletics as a badge and Athletics Plus as a badge at the same time, which is quite interesting. There's no other badges that really lead into athletics other than that. Um, you could look at global issues potentially, and especially disability awareness. That's a huge part. Paralympics, for example, is a very big one for there. And you could think about the international badge, but that's a little bit of a stretch for the most part. Um, Physical recreation is another Cubs badge that also links in quite well. That's much easier to achieve than the athletics badge, though. The physical recreation badge is essentially just showing that you're competent in any sport, whereas athletics has some very specific requirements. You could run the two together if you'd like. There's additionally sports enthusiast, which is about doing a chosen sport for 3 months. So there are like 3 or 4 very, very related badges that you could grab all together from the Cubs here. Going into the actual requirements of this badge, there are, I believe, 2 pages of requirements here, and they're kind of full, so we'll go through them one at a time. Take part in a proper warm-up, warm-down routine using all the main muscle groups. An adult will have to really look into this on behalf of the Scouts, the Cub Scouts. But having a warm-up and warm-down routine is very important to prevent muscle damage and sprains and pulls and things like that. So important enough to do. You'll note that there is no time limit on this. So for the Scouts version of this badge, there is a certain amount of time you have to warm up and warm down for. For this, just taking part in it for some time is good enough. You're not going to be doing too much strenuous things, hopefully, in a Cubs badge. Explaining what the best clothes to wear for athletics are and how to be safe. This is to do with appropriate footwear, so you don't hurt your ankles because of lack of padding or because you twist your ankle somehow. And additionally, not to wear, you know, overly hot clothing to prevent things like I'm not gonna say heat stroke, heat exhaustion, I believe is the proper term. And number 3 here is take part in one of the following through-run activities. Um, so it's to do with tennis and cricket. Again, you could link this in with actually learning tennis and cricket and doing some kind of um, having your Cubs do throw crickets to a batter as far as you can. That'd be one idea. or just running it as part of a cricket game. Another example here, so take part in one of the following. You could instead do beanbags in a bucket, increase distance each time. I'd say it's a little bit less engaging, it's more of a beaver activity, but you can do. And throw a football similar ball as far as you can. Use chest push and an overhead throw. So chest push is how you do things like certain types of shot puts and things of that nature. You can do chest pushes. So I suppose that's related to this. Moving on from that, the next sort of set of requirements here are kind of simple enough, but they give you a wide range of things to do. So you have to take part in two of these, one of these, and one of these. There's a wide range here given. There are some that are harder to pull off. For example, a 400-meter run. You can go to a sports stadium. Usually councils have these available for free in various different areas, especially nearby schools. And there are other certain versions as well. Shuttle run is good if you are restricted in space, if you're in a very urban environment. But I'd advise doing something a little bit more creative with it. Sack race can be fun as long as you know health and safety. You don't leave any corners out for people to fall into. Yeah, and you can choose whatever you'd like there. Number two, take part in one of these team activities. Relay, again, I mentioned earlier, I think that this can contribute towards your sort of team leader and teamwork badges, which are part of the Chief Scout Silver Award. So having someone be a captain here would be a good way of giving someone who's not a sort of a sixer an ability to get that leadership team leader badge early, for example, which would be a good idea. Again, Team Assault course, similar thing. You could run this in such a way that you can get those badges awarded to people. And assisted blindfold race is, again, I mentioned, is a good way of leapfrogging into that disability awareness badge and physical disability specifically. But you could also do, as it says here, blindfold is sight awareness, which is one part of the disability awareness badge. Number three here, different ways you can do jumps. I'd advise steering clear of high jump. That's you need specific equipment for that, really. You want to be careful there. But, you know, of course, risk assessment is, as long as you can risk assess it, it's fine, really. Standing jump's the easiest by far, but see if you can do something more creative with it. That's everything for now. I hope that was useful.